What's going on, lads? Welcome back to the Logic channel. Today I'm going to be looking into the latest update on the Moises Caicedo saga, because believe it or not, still not done. Still not done. So the latest update was from Matt Law of the Telegraph. He says that Chelsea are on the brink of sealing the signing of Moises Caicedo in a British record deal worth £115 million. So before you start panicking and going, does this mean Chelsea have won? Where does this leave us? Who can we go for now? Relax, lads, relax. We're going to go for everything. The first thing I do want to state, although this could be wrong very soon, is that so far there's been no official word of an actual bid. To me, from what I can tell or everything online, this just seems like more of a proposal more than an actual official bid going through. Now, as I say, that could be wrong very quickly. This scenario has been changing every hour since it started. But for the sake of this video, we're going to continue as if this already is a bid, or that one will surface soon. So the actual proposal towards Brighton is £115 million sum from what we've heard so far. That implies that it's going to be mostly upfront but with some in add-ons. And from what I can see, there's no mention of a sell-on clause in there, similar to like what Liverpool had. And the actual proposal to Moises himself is reportedly an 8-year deal going to 2031. And that's reportedly on 250k a week. Just to compare that to the Liverpool deal, we were apparently going to pay him 120k a week. And just to scale it further, Brighton currently do pay him 15k a week. So I do want to interject in this bit real quick just to put my own opinion in. I haven't done a video on this whole saga yet, but from the start I've said in our group chats, I don't think Moises Caicedo is worth around 110 million. I don't even think he's worth 100 million, to be honest with you. If I was going to put a value on him, I'd probably put him at 60 to 80 million. I think his price has been inflated for a number of reasons. The first reason being, to be fair to him, he's probably one of the best young defensive midfielders in the Premier League right now. Maybe even European football. But when you pair that with the second fact of Liverpool have no defensive midfielders pretty much at all, or at least any senior ones, that makes your price go. Now, I'm not going to lie and say I didn't buy into the hype, because I do like him as a player. He's very good, and it's also not my money that's being spent, so I don't care. But that did change. Once I learned that his preference was Chelsea over Liverpool, I really didn't care how this deal went, to be honest. It sounds a bit petty, but I quite like the fact that we usually go and test the waters with players and see if they want to play for us before we go and sign them. Not that I think the players that prefer other clubs over us won't do a good job for us, but you get a little bit extra something from players that do want to be there. Maybe it's passion, maybe it's performances, maybe it's energy, something. You get more from them if they want to be here, in my opinion. Also worth noting that there was no ever official word of him rejecting Liverpool, more so just a preference for Chelsea, where I think from the fact that he gave Chelsea so much leeway and so much time to be able to match our deal, kind of showed that preference a bit too much for me. If it's between like us and Real Madrid or something like that, I'd maybe understand a bit more, but I don't know what Chelsea offer. Well, you know, other than the long contract with the higher wage. Now, some of these are subjective, of course. I think most fans would generally agree we've got the better manager, we've got the better stadium, we've got the better fan base, maybe we have the better training facilities, we've got the better team, at least in the sense of they are an actual team rather than just a collection of individuals. And we've got European football, and that last one is just a fact. That's not even subjective. Now, there was a lot of reports saying that this was mostly the actions of his agent, Manuel Sierra, from the football division. And while that could be true, because we know agents are greedy and we know they're entitled, I still think that you could interject here in some way. You are still paying them. They need to get you the better deal. If you believe the better deal is Liverpool, you can tell them that. He might be being exploited, of which case I feel sorry for him, but then it's only up to him and the people around him to be able to get him out of that situation. Ultimately, Liverpool could have been suffering in the long run if they got him in and he didn't change agents. For example, could you imagine if this scenario came up and we won, and then in like 3 years' time we need to negotiate a new contract for him? That agent would be a nightmare. So even if it is his agent just trying to get a bigger payday, I think we've dodged the bullet. Anyway, personal opinion aside, there is actually more to the story. Alex Crook, who is apparently very reliable with Southern clubs, then said, Chelsea FC is still pushing for a move for Caicedo. Confidence has been boosted by the fact the players' camp wants the move. The key is whether or not financial fair play will allow them to match the favourable Liverpool deal structure. So this just expands on my theory that this is more of a proposal rather than an official bid. The proposal being their £115 million sum. I don't know the ins and outs of transfers, but they must have to go through some approval process for financial fair play to make sure they're not breaking any of the regulations. And then whether or not they're approved or authorised, they can then go and submit that proposal into an actual bid. That's my guess anyway. I might be wrong, but that's what it sounds like. But anyway, there's a couple of things I do want to mention aside from this that I actually think are important and I want to get across. The first being that I don't really know why Brighton decided to implement this like auction if they weren't gonna stick to it. So if you weren't somehow aware, basically on the night of the bidding on Thursday, Brighton decided to host this like auction style bidding war, where basically they had a cut-off of 12 AM and whoever was the highest bidding club come that time was basically the victor. Congratulations, you got your player. We obviously won that. We slapped down 110 million or 111 million pounds, and basically that was that. We were going to book him in for a medical and get him in right away. But for some reason, I'm guessing it's more Caicedo and his team, they decided to allow to give Chelsea some more time to exceed our bid. Only a small time of 48 hours afterwards, like. And to be honest, I'm not that bothered really. Like, I'm fine with Brighton. I don't really blame them for this. I think it's more Caicedo and his team. And ultimately, even if it was Brighton, they have no obligation to sell to us specifically. They're probably just wanting to get rid of this midfielder and ultimately get the most amount of money they can for him, and that might be Chelsea in this scenario. But yeah, I just don't know why you'd put that rule in if you're going to ignore it anyway. It just seemed mad to me. If you're going to ever put any rules in, you may as well just stick to them. The second thing, and I've kind of just glossed over it a little bit there, is that Caicedo kind of is just a bit of an opportunist. He has no particular passion or interest in playing for any particular club. It's just whichever is the best option at the time. So if there's any Chelsea fans that have stumbled across this video in order to try and gloat and claim, haha, he's chose us over you guys, he's Chelsea through and through. First of all, sapling lads, nice one for getting our views up. Leave a little cheeky like down below for us, nice one. But also, while you're doing that, you might want to reconsider actually gloating, because he's actually not that loyal to anyone really. In January, he wanted Arsenal to sign him, so much so that they actually put a leaving post out on social media before anything was actually confirmed. That didn't go down well, so he ended up signing a contract extension at Brighton. After that contract extension, in April, he tried to beg for Real Madrid to come in after him. That didn't happen, so he started speaking to Chelsea in May. When it seemed like that was going to be his final settling point, we got involved, and I don't think we would have got involved without some indication or some thumbs up that he would have joined Liverpool. It's only now still on the medical where he's shown any sort of loyalty, but ultimately he seems like someone that will just take any big offer when it comes around to him. If Chelsea don't do too well in the next few years and a Real Madrid come in, he's off. And probably in a chaotic way, so, you know, think about that. So the last thing I want to mention is that I've actually seen quite a few people online talk about or blame FSG for exclusively this scenario if it falls through. And I just think that's insane, to be honest. Like, just to blame FSG for this is so narrow-minded. Like, don't get me wrong, they're by no means innocent in context of the whole transfer window. But to say Moises Caicedo falling through is FSG's fault, that's just ridiculous. Like, ultimately they've shown ambition and they've put down not only club record fee but British record fee for transfer. They've put down 110, 111 million pounds, and normally that would be enough to convince a player to come to them. It's not FSG's fault that Caicedo and his team are idiots or just greedy and after a payday. And it's also not their fault that Todd Bowley's a lunatic. The only thing maybe you could blame them for is that it's a bit of a ridiculous thing to go in for a target like Moises Caicedo this late in the transfer window and maybe to show your hand to everyone. But as I said earlier, normally 110 would be enough. It's not their fault that Moises and his team are idiots. And furthermore, that Todd Bowley is actually a psychopath. So to blame them for this is just, you know, sort your head out. The thing we can test them on is what they do after the fact. So let's hope that they actually stick to the guns and show the same level of ambition after this. I actually don't even think this would be the end of it. You know, the way this whole transfer's gone from start to finish has been bizarre. And it honestly wouldn't surprise me if there was another twist in the tail somewhere. Oh, hang on. Actually, as I'm filming this video, there's reports that John Henry is actually flying into the UK to watch this game tomorrow. What is this transfer saga, man? It's been so weird from start to finish. Now, this could just be him going to watch the match. Don't get me wrong, it could just be a formality. But it's so weird. We've dropped not only club record fee, but British record transfer fee for this player who prefers Chelsea over us. And it's not even our sport director that's taken it up, it's our CEO, Billy Hogan. Then we've got bloody Todd Bowley trying to wiggle around financial fair play for 25 billion years. And he looks like he's managed to do it, so John Henry's flying in to come and beat him up. What is going on? It's weird. But anyway, let's have a look at the table and see what our options are going forward if Moises does go to Chelsea. The one thing we do know is we've got 110 million pounds to spend, so how do we spend it? In my opinion, I think we still need 2 number 6s and a centre-back. At least. Now, if it was up to me, I would go back to Southampton and try and negotiate a fee for Romeo Lavia. And by negotiate fee, I mean pay at least the 50 million they asked for. And I say at least because Chelsea, in a wild attempt to spite us, tried to make efforts to sign both Lavia and Caicedo because Todd Bowley is a lunatic and apparently has a very fragile ego. I mean, I just don't see it happening, personally, and thankfully at that. Not only are Chelsea's finances in the bin over the last 2 years, but like, if you're struggling to collect the money for Caicedo, What makes you think you can get Caicedo and Lavia? Oh, and let's include Elise because you want Elise apparently. Oh, and don't forget, you've just loaned Kepa to Real Madrid, so another first-choice goalkeeper as well. Also, I just don't think Lavia would want to go there because if you look at Chelsea's midfield, there's probably never going to be that many opportunities to get into that team. If you look at the scenario as Moises Caicedo joins, you've got Moises Caicedo who's got to start most games. Enzo Fernandez will probably start most games with him. And if you need to rotate them, you've got people like Andre Santos, you've got Chukwuemeka, you've got Conor Gallagher, and you've got that other guy who got Chukwu or whatever his name is. Sorry if I butchered your name, mate. So he's pretty much going to get very minimal game time, if any, all for the sake of Todd Bowley being a little crybaby bitch about Liverpool trying to get a signing. Actually, how old is this man? Wow, he's 49 years old. 49. He needs to grow the fuck up. My second number 6 that I'd like to pick is honestly any of the following players. I'd like Florentino Luis from Benfica, Andre from Fluminense, but we'd probably have to wait until January to do that deal anyway. Or Kefren Turan. That's right, we're bringing Kefren Turan back this late in the window. For centre-back, I'd either go with Inacio, or we've apparently inquired about Yusuf Fofana. And honestly, either of those guys I'm happy with. I would have liked or preferred Costello Keba, but he's already gone to Leipzig, so that's off the table. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens. We've still got 2.5 weeks left in the transfer window. We still need like 3 players. So remember to subscribe and notifications on down below because it's going to be a very busy 2.5 weeks. Yay. Oh, what is this transfer window, man? What is this transfer window? Anyway, while you're down there subscribing, if you don't mind leaving a comment as well, let me know what you think about this whole Moises Caicedo saga, and if it was up to you, how would you spend the £110 million? And if you don't mind as well, liking the video if you did enjoy it, helps out massively with our stats, and it helps us push our videos with the YouTube algorithm, which gets us more exposure. And also, while I've got you there, we're going to do a live watch along for the Chelsea game, so make sure you're on the channel and make sure you watch along for that. Going to do the first one live just to test the water, see how it does, and then upload the highlights afterwards. So make sure you're there for that. And yeah, see you in the next video. In a bit, lads.